Hello there, urban homesteaders. Welcome to video 5. I'm going to try to do a like a slideshow. Um, you used to be able to do that on YouTube. I don't know if you still can. I was around before YouTube was invented. I'm starting to feel a little old. Um, I was around before the internet was public access. Anywho, lessons we learn in life. So I'm still gonna try to do that video slideshow collage kind of thing. Um, but sorry, I'm getting messages on the phone, which is another thing. We got video phones out now. Like, yay technology. Um, Trying to get back on track here. Give me a second. All right, that's what we call a jump cut, or me pausing the video and collecting my thoughts. It's about 50 degrees out now, which is about 50 more degrees than it's been, especially overnight. Welcome to Utah. We can get all 4 seasons sometimes in the same day. But regarding the resolution of the frozen pipes, again, video 6-ish will probably be a compilation of some relevant photos and a couple of short clips of what a 2 psi pressure looks like and what a 70 psi pressure looks like. 70s where the pro that we had come in ended up setting the regulator at, and apparently we were pushing 120 before that. So in video 4, I don't think I actually went into a bunch of detail or even got you some good pictures of the setup. So kind of doing it a little out of order, but this is my first time trying it. So if you followed along this far, thanks. And hopefully the next video will have some of the nuts and bolts. And at any time, feel free to ask questions on the video or message me privately. Not even sure how to do that on YouTube, but Facebook, Sweet Creek Community Co-op. We've got a page and we've got a group page as well, like a product page and a group page. So the long and the short of it is we called, I think it's Expert Plumbing and HVAC or something like that, down in Provo, and got through to them, got same-day service. Unfortunately, the tech that they had out there first was either having a bad day or green or whatever, but he just basically did the basic stuff and wanted to charge us a full service fee for that. Sarah wasn't having any of that shit, and so she called in and was like, hey, I am less than pleased with this experience. I don't know why the hell I would pay $150 for what he did. And he was pretty, like, not quite confrontational, but just kind of prickly. Also didn't communicate very well with the tenants, who I'm not sure which dialect, but I'm pretty sure they speak Spanish. And so there was all sorts of communication errors and just plain not satisfied with the experience. So Sarah called up, talked to the receptionist, who actually knew more about the service call than the tech that they ended up sending out. Again, you got to start somewhere, but if we're going to pay $150, send along somebody that knows what the hell's going on along with the new guy, whatever it was. Nonetheless, we ended up getting the second guy out there. So the first guy went in and basically checked my work and determined that the tenants had probably unplugged the heating cord. So there's this heating wire, and there's a bunch of different people that sell it. The cheapest, most reliable one that I've found is called Frost King, and they've got it specifically for pipes in shorter lengths. But there's also like a tape kit that you can do to it. There's all sorts of ways to make it more fancy. But then they also sell it up to, I think, 200-foot lengths. and it's a de-icing kit for like your roof and stuff like that. So I planned on putting putting what was it? I had a 100 footer that I was going to put on the front of the house, but luckily they had um, it's listed as 12 footer, but it's a 9 to 13 footer. I don't know what that's all about, but um, they had the 12 footer section. So there was, what was there, three heat wires down there already and a power strip. I had to plug in a new extension cord to it. Thankfully used the tenant's extension cord, so I don't have to go buy another one. And then it was, I mean, you saw the first couple of videos. It was a couple of, well, it was 12 hours on site, um, just getting access and getting heater in there so that the place would thaw out enough for the pipes to move. And once they did, we got a little bit of spray out of the PRV, or the pressure regulation valve, which, by the way, had to be replaced. But the green tech didn't know that and didn't know what the hell to do, and was trying to sell us a water heater and just whatever he got commission off of. But after talking to the boss, and the boss sent a pro out, and the pro was bilingual enough. So that's another consideration if your tenants are bilingual, trying to find service folks that are their same kind of bilingual. Um, and so we finally got him out there, and he went down in there and checked everything, and actually did a more professional wrap on the not only the incoming PEX pipe. PEX is just basically it's a durable plastic pipe, versus your copper or your galvanized steel or your cast iron, depending on how old your plumbing is. And we have all of those down there, because the house has been around since 1903, and the property was settled like late 1800s. So just like our homestead here at Sweet Creek, where I'm at right now. So dude went down there, rewrapped the pipes, plugged everything in. Apparently, because it was as cold as it was, and somehow, I'm not pointing fingers or whatever else, it could have even been miscommunication, but the what you call her, the extension cord came unplugged, and so the propane burner, what the green kid tried to say that we'd unplugged the propane burner, as if the propane burner needs electricity to run. Like this was the quality of tech they sent out. But the pro guy went down there, and he's like, okay, I plugged in all the heat tape, made sure everything was wrapped well, and the new valve was wrapped too, because apparently the valve, it's a $600 valve, a pressure regulation valve, so that that's where the problem is. Like essentially what happened is the PEX line froze. It froze the PRV, the pressure regulation valve, and when it froze the PRV, it broke the diaphragm in there, the little switch. Just imagine like a I don't know, like a flexible tambourine kind of thing. Inside that, I hope it's made out of metal for $600, but it broke that, and that was our main issue in thawing and moving forward. And also, apparently, according to the tech, the first one, which he could have just been lying to like say the easy thing and move on. According to the first tech, that had been unplugged. The heating wire had been unplugged, and everything refroze. So it's going to be easier to see in the photos if you're visual like me. But essentially, talking to the wife a while back, so this has only happened like 4 times for the property. So a while back, when it happened, they replaced the whole line, and for like $6,000, they ran a PEX line through a trench, through around to the back of where it ties in into the crawl space. And other estimates were like $15,000, and they wanted to replace the whole water main and blah blah blah. And it's like, nah, this works, and so that's what we did. The cool thing about the PEX is it's unlikely to freeze, and when and if it does freeze, if it's buried deep enough, and that was one of the things, is like, is it deep enough? Just a general knowledge thing, you want any of your water lines at least 3 feet deep, and in a climate like this, you probably want them a little closer to 4 feet deep, because that's how far down the frost can propagate into the soil. So just imagine like the top freezes and thaws out, freezes and thaws out, like on days like today where it's 50, sun shining. That's going to thaw out the first little bit. But in northern climates, you got a thing called permafrost, which is the ground stays frozen for an extended period of time, and the longer it stays frozen, the deeper that frost goes down. In way northern climates, it's actually necessary. It's part of the ecosystem, that kind of thing. But here in Utah, it had been cold enough, below freezing, for long enough to drive that frost down deep enough that it froze our water line. And when the water line froze, it broke the PRV, and when the PRV is broken, wide open, you get 120 psi, which you're not supposed to get. That's basically just blowing through the pressure regulation valve. There is no regulation on it. But then when you try to turn a fixture on, and you'll see in the next video, you get 2 psi. Your garden hose will give you something closer to, I think it's like 35 psi. And if your house is set to 70, then you get 70 psi out of your water hose. So just imagine, like, just barely trickling out of the faucet, out of the what you call it, the shower, the washing machine, dishwasher, like all these other things. It's going to take really long time to get the amount of water through there. Not fun, but it's what we were dealing with. So lessons learned is just like you do with automatic sprinklers, you got to drain them before the winter. If we're, and you never really know what the winter is going to bring you, but if we're anticipating sustained below freezing temperatures, we're definitely going to go in there and make sure everything's plugged in, warmed up. I've got a Bluetooth thermal hygrometer down there, which measures not only the multiple points of temperature, but also trend lines and relative humidity. And relative humidity, because you'll see in the photos, and if I can include one in here, a couple in here, I'll do that. Again, I'm not really sure how to include stills with the video. If that's just something easy to do on YouTube. I'm doing this from my phone, so like it's not on a tripod. It's kind of like you, me, and everything else. I'm getting all sorts of sales calls and everything. People just want part of me. So I'll see if I can put the stills up, but essentially you'll see that where's my finger? So there's this blue line that comes in. There's the shutoff valve. It's just a little 90-degree valve that you turn on and off. Then there's this pressure regulation valve, and then there's the line that goes into the house. So the pressure regulation valve cost us $600. The service was over $200 for that, and then my time and materials were up nearly $1,500 into this fix. All of which is technically the renter's responsibility to take care of. But we love those renters, and so Sarah and I were just like, we'll eat the cost this time, we'll remind them not to let it happen again. And I mean, think about it. If you're in the middle of winter, you have twin 1-year-olds, and you can't take a hot shower, do your laundry, do your dishes, anything else in something more than a 2 psi, just barely trickle coming out of the faucet, I'm pretty sure it's a lesson you'll learn pretty quick and not do again. So, whew, 15 minutes to get through all that. So hopefully it was informational, maybe a little fun, and I'll pretty much call it here. As I said, I'm going to try to get that other one up with stills and some of the video clips, so you can see the difference between a 2 psi, because we had the tenants shoot us a video of what their water pressure looked like, and we did it, or they did it from the sink, and so did the expert plumber guy that came out, and night and day difference, just night and day difference. Currently, knock on wood, no persistent issues, like no things sticking around, stanking things up, or other problems, but it's also, like I said, 40, 50 degrees warmer than it's been, so that's going to help. That's going to help take some of the frost out of the soil. The other thing is I could probably, since there's power down there now, I've got a little radiant oil heater, which I'll put it in the next video if I end up using it. It's really great for heating spaces. It consumes quite a bit of electricity, but it doesn't have an open flame source, so you don't have to worry about it in like a crawl space under a house, just cooking that out and maybe being a fire hazard. We didn't have any other choice to thaw the space out before, so I brought the propane heater down there. But now, as I said, now like there's power down there, and we've got the heating wire on and the rest of that. What's today? Is it Friday? Might make a trip down there tomorrow. I've got somebody in the co-op that's got a roof leak that they want me to come take a look at, and so I've got that and probably some permaculture stuff to talk with them. Just feels good. It feels good to be complete with that, and be able to move on to what's next. There's some projects stacking up around the homestead here. I've got I got to redo a roof on basically the we call it the hot house, because in the summer and the winter it gets pretty warm, but I've had it's just a plastic roof. We were going to use it as a greenhouse, but couldn't regulate the temperature well enough, and so on and so forth. So I have some roof repairs to do there. I got leaks in this roof you see over me. Just urban homesteading, upkeep stuff. Yeah, so feel free to put any comments down below, like, subscribe, think about becoming a patron, and just contributing a little bit each month to get exclusive content and stories like this. Some of the more nuts and the bolts behind the scenes stuff, where anybody else getting on for free is going to get kind of a general idea, and not nearly the technical depth that I'll be putting into these kind of videos. I think that's how I'll be doing it. The best laid plans, right? Like I've been following some of these channels that are getting above, they're getting above 100,000 subscribers. They're getting up to 1 million subscribers. They're getting into the couple millions of subscribers, and it tends to be like a slow burn and build to get to that. But it sure is fun to watch them do that. And if this channel could get up to a couple hundred people that are watching it regularly, I'd feel pretty good about putting some video content up here. Also, if anybody's willing to throw in a couple of bucks a month to to hear some of the stuff I got to talk about, because there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff, and people pay me hundreds of dollars an hour to like have me do it or get consultation on it. But also, like, I got all this wisdom from decades of doing this stuff, and it's no fun to me if I'm the only one that knows it. I want everybody to know this stuff. I want people to have their own homesteads, their own livestock, their own fire pits, and other things that fill them up and make them feel good. So, and I also I'm looking at all the projects need doing. We got a new roof onto the garage this last year, but we didn't get rain gutters and water collection installed on it. And kind of all of our rain gutter water collection systems could stand for a big update. But then we're also looking for a new primary residence and planning to rent this out. So, like, how much do you do before renters? How much do you do with renters? How much do you do in between renters? These are all lessons we're learning. So, all right, I'm trying to keep it digestible, so I'll call it here. Look for that next video. Again, thanks for participating in this. This series is currently unlisted. So if you got the content, it's because you paid for it or you asked specifically for it. In either case, I appreciate you. Peace, love, and dopamine. And I'll see you in video number 6. Pieces.